Okay, it's been a long time since I've done one of these, so I'm ready to do one, but I feel kind of jittery and anxious to get it all out and keep it in order, which probably means I should have written it down. Anyway, so some correlations that I'm making today. So I misplaced my car keys, and I threw a massive temper tantrum. And it's really, I feel ashamed about it. I freaked the cats out, and then my colleague comes to my door and he's saying, he's giving me the critique of the day about my organizational skills or lack thereof. And I'm racking my brain. I'm looking at my behavior, and I'm going, I'm asking myself, what would you do if you never found the car keys? I mean, eventually you'd have to come to the conclusion that the car keys are gone, and you're going to need to make yourself new ones, and so forth and so on. And it just seemed like it's always it just seems so dramatic how I made that an impossibility, how I didn't feel like that was practical. And they turned out to be right under a pillow on the bed. Now, I think that I probably grabbed them from the desk. I probably grabbed them from my dresser, rather, and I put them under that pillow when I was lying down on the bed, or I was trying to make the bed and I left the keys on the bed, and something this morning. I'm going around and I'm shouting at myself, and I'm screaming and I'm cursing, and I'm calling myself an MFer and a son of a bitch, and people can hear this, and I'm really ashamed of myself. And then I'm asking myself about selfishness and self-absorption and just being selfish. It just seems like there's one element of the issue of my anger and my internal strife is that it always kept me quiet, or I always tried to be. That's not the right word. I was always withdrawn. Primarily, I was withdrawn in a large way because I was so embarrassed, and inside I felt, and I still feel it to this day. But I remember in college very vividly, just very, oh God, I'm wasted. I've just spent an hour yelling at myself over my cell phone or my car keys, or my pump. I mean, I remember one time driving the 40 plus miles. Well, no, it was like 25 miles to college from home, and I remember my pump wasn't filled, my insulin pump, and I was furious, and I would play this game like I would never bring supplies. For a long time, I didn't bring supplies to school, and I recognize that now as a game I was playing. Like I wanted the excuse to be able to leave campus if I had to leave campus. Oh well, I have to leave campus because I don't have my insulin supplies. I would play that kind of childish game, and maybe that's neither here nor there. But it was an element that, all the strife and anger, and I would be so upset at myself, and I'd get to school and I'd be very down, and I'd be, or in high school it was the same thing. Although in high school, there was more of a dormant quality to it. It was more, oh God, it's really interesting. It really is fascinating. It's fascinating in the sense that I yell at myself and I scream at myself and I get all outraged, and I remember doing that as a kid. I remember a guitar string breaking or losing my car keys. I remember running around the house and, sweetheart, where are your fucking car keys, and MF this, and you son of a bitch. and I remember talking to my therapist about that, and he said it will always be there, but you'll be able to understand it more and have control over it instead of it having control over you. But lately, what I've noticed is that it's really, despite me being on an antidepressant, a very strong antidepressant that requires a very careful withdrawal, I don't know that it's just I'm noticing that more anger is coming up. Like the Paxil was calming me down and leveling me out, and I wouldn't and I wouldn't feel this neurotic, just tense, aggravated feeling of wanting to explode. I wanted to leave. I was so just pent up. I wanted to leave. I wanted to run. I wanted to drive away. I wanted to do anything but focus or concentrate. There was this lack of ability to focus and concentrate. And I look at my mess now, my disorganization now, and I'm analyzing. I'm looking at myself and going, well, how am I feeling right now? What am I feeling like? And part of me says, I don't know what to do with it. Another part of me says, it'll just get messy. It'll just be messed up again. But I do want to clean it. I desperately want it to be organized and cleaned. But there's the overwhelming part of me is going, oh my God. Oh, what's wrong with you? Oh, you're such a mess. I'm really, and I am ashamed of the behavior, because I want to grow and I want to be a better person. And I made this short film recently, and it's really brutal, and it exemplifies some of the frustrations that I've felt internally with myself. And I don't think I was hiding that from anyone. I don't know. I don't think I was really hiding that from anyone when I showed it to the group of people I showed it to. I'm not sure how many people didn't get that, because if you're going to make a film that you wrote, it's going to have, even if you're going to make a film that somebody else wrote, it's still going to have some of you in it. You're going to reveal yourself, and especially if it's intensely personal, you're going to reveal yourself. And I definitely did some revealing, and it's good to note that there is this kind of outrageous anger in me that I think, it's such a burden that, in a way, if I were looking from somebody else's point of view, and I completely understood myself, I might tell that person, I might tell me, being another person, wow, no wonder you find it difficult in social situations. Wow, no wonder you're exhausted. Wow, no wonder you have trouble leaving the house. Wow, no wonder, there's kind of, no wonder there's it seems difficult for you to plug in, because there's this process. It seems like there's this process that has to take place where the fear has to be resolved. The fear of leaving my phone at home, leaving my, not knowing where my car keys are, the place being a mess, and all of a sudden I'm cleaning and I have to leave in 5 minutes. All these things, and I just wish that we could get back to meditating consistently and address this head on. Because, Jocelyn's very frustrated about, the 4 a.m. thing, and you seem to, you want to make that better, but today you more than realized that you can feel that it's a huge risk. And there's things you're not doing that I don't remember you ever quite feeling this way of not doing them. Like, it's almost like you're so passive about it. I'm a little bit afraid of that. I mean, I'm more than a little bit afraid of it, but there's still this sensation that, well, everything will be okay. Which I'm, but we have to just keep working at it.